NFT Heroes.
SIDUS NFT Heroes.
It's just called SIDUS NFT Heroes.
SIDUS NFT Heroes.
SIDUS Heroes.
SIDUS.
SIDUS.
A SIDUS here, and SIDUS is actually a really interesting project.
Hello, everyone, guys. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a privilege and it's a pleasure to be in this AMA session with you guys. And thanks for joining in. As I said, it's a privilege for me to be a CEO of such an amazing project like SIDUS. And there have been a lot of things happening in the past few weeks for us, for sure, for you. But for us, it's been happening already for the last 12 months since we've started preparations for the SIDUS. It is an amazing project for sure. I'm sure many of you guys had a chance to do a bit of a due diligence to read about our upcoming game, to learn a little bit more from in-game economics, to read the white paper and go through the whole bunch of different materials that we're currently publishing every day. And there is more and more coming for sure. So I'm really excited to be a part of it. And I can't really wait to launch the game because that's going to be one of the best games and immersive experiences that you can possibly find in the blockchain space without really sugarcoating it. I'm pretty confident about it, and I challenged other companies to actually show me some good experiences like we are planning to release very soon for you guys. It's been a very long time. You know, we've spent more than 12 months just preparing all of these documentation that you see on the website right now. we've spent about 7 months learning how to optimize in-game economics to the best possible efficiency to make sure there is a balance inside of our game, that every player who is playing this game is fully enjoying it. There is a balance inside of it. There is an opportunity for anyone to be anyone they want. There is in-game mechanics that are helping people to interact with each other and do a whole bunch of different things as a solo or as a guild. And this game is all about the life journey. So it's not just about the play to earn model. We don't really care about that too much because everyone does it in these market conditions right now. But what we are creating right now, it's the enjoyable game, a game that will make you feel excited. And that's what we are very good at. We are making games. We've been making games, that people enjoyed in the past, and we are making one of the biggest and one of the most amazing games right now that we're planning to launch in the first cycle, which will be the first stage of this game in January the 23rd, and the closed beta will happen on the 10th of January for anyone who holds an NFT card from our Genesis collection. So I'm looking forward to release this game to you guys in January, and that's going to be an exciting time for sure for all of us. Despite that, we also have a lot of things coming up before the game. Obviously, we have an IDO coming up very soon. The IDO is going to happen on 7 different platforms, as many of you already saw. It's going to be Seedify, it's going to be Blockpad, it's going to be Gamify, Redcard, Ignition, Trustpad, and the Space Swap. So there will be 7 different platforms for you to look at, and make sure you do a bit of a due diligence. You understand how the IDO process actually works on these platforms, and you got to be prepared in advance because there will be a substantial demand coming towards this project. So I want to make sure that every one of you have a chance to be a part of this amazing experience. Besides that, we are preparing a lot of things, like we've got a trailer coming up soon, and I'm really pumped up for this trailer. I will be honest with you, because that's going to be one of the most exciting trailers you have ever watched in the entire blockchain gamify industry. We truly have amazing professionals working on it for quite a long time already. It's going to be released closer to the 10th of December, and it's just going to blow your mind. That's it. I'm not going to comment anything else. I'm just going to say, wait for it and be excited to see what's going to happen and what you will see on the 10th of December. Let's talk about game today. I'm sure many of you had a lot of questions in the past, and I've seen a lot of questions and comments in the Discord and Telegram and Twitter. So I've been trying to assess all of these questions and sum it up in a very nice AMA session, which we'll have today together with you guys, so I can answer as many questions as possible and explain the in-game mechanics for every of you guys, so you understand what to expect in the actual game and when to expect it. Okay, so let's get started from simple things. How are we differentiating our game from all other projects in this space? Well, let me tell you exactly, and that's the most important part, is that we are different. We are very different because many games out there, they're repeating the same thing over and over again. They're choosing Unreal Engine 5, or they're choosing a whole bunch of other existing technologies in the market, and they just copy each other when it comes to the concept, when it comes to the in-game economics or mechanics inside of the game. And all they do with it is just, trying to take as much advantage as possible from this entire industry and around the whole Metaverse aspect. We are here not to rush into things. We've been preparing for this game for 12 months, guys. I'm dead serious. We've been working hard to make all of this documentation that you can see on the website, and this documentation is pretty sophisticated. So we put a lot of in-depth knowledge in it, so you can understand how the actual whole logic and the logical sequence works inside of this game, because every step has to be logical. Nobody has to take an advantage of a certain weakness inside of this game, so they don't ruin the whole thing. That's why it takes a lot of time to actually prepare all of this documentation. If I talk to some projects out there who are telling me, well, we've been spending only a month to prepare the whole game concept, well, I would not comment anything about it, because as a game developer or as a person who is actually working with one of the game studios, Play Display, that we've been working for quite a long time already, it takes a substantial amount of time to prepare a sufficient documentation that explains how things are going to work inside of this game. And trust me, it doesn't take that short to make something like that. It takes a substantial amount of time. We're talking about month and month of a very long process to go through, to explain the whole thing to people in a very simple language and actually demonstrate it in graphics, that the ones that you see on the website. So that's an exciting process to go through, but it's also a very sophisticated process to go through. The game is also built on our own engine. So we've built the game on the layer 2 solution that we've built ourselves in the last 4 years on the WebGL HTML5 technology. It's a very recent and a very young technology that was recently released as a framework version 2.0 in 2017. And since that release date, we started to experiment with WebGL and HTML5 to understand what can we possibly get out of this technology. And we realized that there are a lot of things we can actually do in this technology. We can build a game and we can do the engine and make the engine that is capable to produce an outstanding graphics that you would be able to see in our game. We are aiming for a cinematic HD quality that you will eventually see in our game. More logins you do inside of our game, it will make you excited because the system is self-learning. So it's going to optimize itself to the best possible capacity of your devices. And more logins you do, better graphics you will obtain eventually. Let me show you a little expo that we've made as a little game that we've made 4 years ago for one of the projects. It is a very, very old WebGL technology, but it gives you a very good indication as to what is it capable of, like what can you do inside of it. So this game that you see on the screen, it was made for one of our clients, but it kind of gives you an idea as what WebGL is and what is it capable of, right? As I said before. But once again, this is a very old technology and we haven't even had our engine at that point of time. Right now, what you see now in the example 1, 2, and 3 on my screen, it's a completely new level. This is a proper immersive experience that you will see inside of our game. All of these elements that you see inside of our game are already compatible to Unreal Engine 5. So if some of you guys will scream out and say, hey guys, we're sick of WebGL HTML5, let's launch this game on the PS5, let's launch this game on the Unreal Engine 5, no problems. We will basically tell you it's going to take us 2.5 to 3 months to convert the entire game from WebGL HTML5 to Unreal Engine 5, because all of our elements inside of our game are already compatible to Unreal Engine 5 requirements. So the characters, the landscapes, the arenas, the planets, everything you see inside of our game will excite you because we can do it on both aspects. Now, let's talk a little bit about demo that I'm sure many of you have already tried. The demo is a very tiny little part, so don't really expect much out of it. But what I thought is a good idea for me to show how the actual thing is going to work, right? Because many games out there, what they're saying is, well, we're going to build a game in a year. We are raising funds right now because we are great. We're going to make this amazing game that everyone is going to play, but nobody's actually shows the demo, right? We want to show you the pre-alpha, the demo that demonstrates the capacity of the WebGL and HTML5 technology, right? So you've got a customization process. You've got to have this PvP special arena. Once you enter the battle arena, you get isolated in the special place. And obviously, you have a turn-by-turn action happening. So that is more of an intelligent PvP, not like in the other games. There will be non-stop action happening. In this game, you have enough time to think intelligently what you can do to win the other player. Now, this is really important for you to understand that it's a massive RPG world in a metaverse, but when you enter the battle, you have a turn-by-turn action, right? So you will have certain time for you to analyze things around you, to understand what are the weaknesses and strengths of your opponent on the other side, and what are your strengths as a player to fight against the other player, right? So that's the thing. Environment will be a massive part of your battle arena, no matter where you fight. If it's going to be the planet of fire, a planet of water, a planet of electricity, of any environment that you see around you, you got to be very cautious, because if you ignore the environment around you, most likely you'll get damaged by the environment around you, right? So you can be eaten by the worms around you. You can be affected by the electrical shock waves from the mushrooms around you that will eventually explode if you don't shoot them in the right timing. You can have a toxic rain if you don't have a protection or spells that will help you to have some shields protecting your heroes. You can get affected as well. There'll be a lot of things happening unpredictably. So that's going to make your process of fighting against the other players very exciting. And this is not just a game where you're going to do a repetitive action over and over again, and you eventually get sick of this game. Now, this action is all about this experience that we want you to have while fighting with the other players, while fighting with the other creatures, and that eventually you can take over, feed them for a week or two, and then, it goes through like a process of a Tamagotchi style. You feed the creature that you can catch in a certain place on a certain planet. And then if it likes you, it can become your companion, right? Or like a little robot, a little dragon. There'll be a whole bunch of variations of different creatures inside of our game that you can catch on different planets, right? Now, you can also see we have a lot of different customization things, including the skins that you see on the screen. So this Ogyo character from the Planet of Fire, it can easily be customized. So there is a very great experience of customization inside of our game. Before you enter the game, you can choose customized characteristics. You can change the colors, you can change the skin, you can change the armor, you can change some things inside of the size, the brain's intelligence. Many different things can be customized. And the great thing, it's all saved towards your NFT. So once you make a character inside of our game, this NFT will be saved, and then you will see this character on your NFT, and you can use it inside of the game. And everything happens via the game. All of your improvements, all of your levels up, etc., all of the changes that are applicable to your character, they will be affecting your NFT card that you would be able to see on the OpenSea or on the marketplace of the SIDUS Heroes. This card is going to work with the IPFS DB system, which means that whatever happens inside of the game will also be mirrored towards your NFT card. So when you sell your NFT card, you are selling the entire progress inside of your game, including your character, your level, the characteristics of this character, etc., etc., etc. Now, we're also going to have exciting things like drilling devices, drilling that you see on the screen right now. Those devices will be a part of your spaceships. If your spaceships are capable technologically to drill the asteroids and comets, then you would be able to obtain some precious resources on these comets and asteroids that you would be able to use to build more spaceships, more buildings in your land plot on the different planet, or a whole bunch of different places that you can use these resources, or you can even sell them because they will be quite valuable, and you can make some substantial number of tokens inside of these because you're selling it on the marketplace as well. This game is exciting, right? So we are trying to make a game that will combine a lot of different games before, including EVE Online, including No Man's Sky, including Mass Shock, including Heroes of Magic, turn-by-turn concept. And there are a lot of things mixed up together in these games. So this game is definitely going to blow your mind when you will see it, and it will be launched step by step. All right. Now, we've been developing it. Now we're approaching the date when everything will happen. The whole magic will be seen by you guys when you enter the game. The first people that will see this game will be on the 10th of January. Those people who are possessing one of the characters from the Genesis collection, which you would be able to buy on the OpenSea. And then a public access will be available on the 23rd of January for anyone who has a character from either Genesis collection or a SIDUS Academy collection. Now, there is an important factor as well for you to understand that anyone who holds an NFT from our Genesis collection will get a free claimable NFT with a very special appearance and characteristics inside of our game. So if you have one of those Genesis NFT cards, we will take a snapshot in the end of the December, and then you would be able to claim your unique and a very extraordinary character inside of this game that nobody else will have. Okay, so there will be only 6,000 in-game special characters made for these Genesis holders who have been supporting us from the beginning. And that's what basically we're trying to do as well. We're trying to be grateful for all of their support. And in exchange for this support, these people will get some free NFT cards, which is also great to have inside of our game. Now, let me talk a little bit more of a in-game economics, because that's a very important factor for you to take into the consideration when you will play this game. I'll just quickly share my screen so you guys can see what's going on. Oops, I've got my Telegram on. There we go. Now, so the player will have a lot of different things inside of our game. Let me start from the beginning. This game is all about balance, okay? Unless I'm comparing us to the other games, there are a lot of games that are creating imbalance, disadvantage to many players who cannot enter the game because they don't possess some valuable resources. Now, I understand many projects are trying to take an advantage of this hype around the gamify industry, etc. But in the end of the day, they're making a game, right? So if they're making a game, they have to make it logical. Why would you sell a very legendary spaceship for $30,000 when you make rich people richer? But what about those players who cannot afford to spend $30,000 to buy the spaceship that gives you a lot of advantages like capacity, number of crew members, military weapons on the board, etc.? What if I only have $10 in my pocket? How can I compete against those people who are possessing such valuable resources and assets inside of the game? There is no way these people can compete. And that creates a demotivation. Like it doesn't motivate me as a player to play the game where at the beginning, I am already being disadvantaged. That's not fair. I want to be playing. I want to dedicate my time. I actually want to deserve things inside of the game because I dedicate my time. I deserve it. It has to pay me back, right? And this is what this game is all about. I'm very passionate about this game, so I can be a little bit emotional, guys, but I'm trying to basically share that feeling with you, share that excitement with you, so you are getting pumped before we launch the game, because I can't wait to play that game myself. As I said before, it's going to be an exciting game for sure. Now, as a player, in order for you to have something, you have to deserve it. So how would you deserve it? Well, you have to play the game, right? You have to find resources. You have to make a currency inside of the game if you don't have currency inside of your wallet. And you also have to spend your real human hours, your life, because your life hours are the most precious thing that you can possibly spend as a game player. So let me give you an example. What would be the most important for you? An item that you buy for $100,000 or an item that you build that takes you a month, one whole month to build something inside of the game? Well, for me personally, as a player, if I spend a whole month of building the spaceship that will be valued for millions of dollars, I'm not going to sell that spaceship because I've spent 1 month of my life, 30 days logging inside of this game, checking construction progress, putting a lot of resources in, spending so much, nerves, stress. I've been building this spaceship for quite a long time. I'm not going to sell that because the spaceship becomes a very sentimentally touched in-game asset to me as a player, and it's worth more than anything you can buy for money. Money is nothing in comparison to your life, right? So life is the most precious resource we can possibly have in our life. So this game is all about valuable resources such as time as well. So if you want to possess the spaceship, build it. It's going to take you time. I understand that's not an easy process, but once you build it, you get relieved. Peace of mind. Now you own the spaceship that not many people own inside of this game, and you can do many different things with that. You can travel into space. You can visit different planets. You can have an ability to drill the asteroids and comets. You will be able to sell that spaceship, and people will buy it for crazy money for sure, because that's a very valuable in-game asset. Now, you as a player, you will have inventory. Inventory will be full of heroes gear, spaceship equipment, resources, tools, consumables, or loot boxes, licenses to possess land plots inside of our game, tokens and upgrades that you can use. There will be a collection of spaceships, right? So you can build your own spaceships and you can use them for space battles. You can use them for transportation. You can charge people some money for transporting these people from different planets to different planets, from point A to point B. You can have a special ability to be contracted by the guild to transport some materials for the construction from SIDUS station to the planet that being colonized by the guild, and many other things as well, right? So if you have too many spaceships inside of our game, you can lease them out, you can rent them out so people can use it, and they will pay you renting for using these particular spaceships. Now, to manage the spaceship, you would need to have a crew. It's not an easy process to do, right? So you've got to have the right people on board, such as navigation officer, pilot, military soldiers that will protect you from being attacked by the creatures in this space, etc., etc., etc. So you got to be very careful when you enter the space, right? And you can also have a heroes collection inside of our game. Now, you can have as many heroes as you want. There will be different types of heroes, different creatures, etc. But you can only choose 3 heroes for the battle arenas. So if you want to participate in the tournaments, that's basically going to take you some heroes to be used. And you got to select the best heroes in your collection that will fight alongside with you in these battle arenas, that you would participate in the tournaments and the PvP battles at the first stage of this cycle, which will happen in January. Now, in the demo, you see 2 and 2, but in the actual game, it will be 6 on 6, right? So there'll be a big arena where you're going to fight against each other, 6 on 6. There'll be 3 heroes, and every hero is capable to have 1 creature, 1 companion protecting this hero in many different ways, either giving an extra storage, improving the spells, magical spells, improving the skills of using physical weapons like pistols, machine guns, etc., or being a very defensive creature that will protect your other creatures using some special laser shields. Or it can be an attacking creature, the ones that will aggressively attack the other creatures on the other side and will try to kill them as quick as possible, right? So there'll be a lot of variations that you can use. Now, you've got to be very intelligent inside of our game, because intelligence is the key inside of our game. Even if you play against the most powerful player, you can still win, because you can use environment to benefit your creatures. If you're fighting against another player, for example, on the planet of fire, it's going to be a very silly decision for you to use the magic spell that is related to the water, because if you're going to use a water spell, it's going to vaporize, right? Because the temperature around you is very high, so it's not going to be that effective. So you're going to be very smart about how you actually attack the opponent. Now, the pet collection is also, as I said, there will be 1 hero, 1 creature, 1 hero, 1 creature, 1 hero, 1 creature. You can have as many creatures as you want. There will be aggressive creatures, there will be friendly creatures, depending which one you will get. There will be different planets. There will be thousands of different planets with local inhabitants. There will be local creatures that you can catch, as I said. Kind of similar. I wouldn't say it's kind of similar to Pokemon Go, catch them all, but there will be a mechanism for you to catch these creatures. And once you catch them, you feed them for a week or 2, as I said, in a Tamagotchi style. And if they like you, they will basically become your companions. Now, if you have too many creatures, you can list them out as well, right? So you can rent them out to the other players. You can sell them at the marketplace, or you can keep it for yourself as a collectible piece. Now, let's go to the slide number 7. I just want to take you through so that picture here. So this is a very simplified version of showing you how the actual SIDUS Metaverse is going to look. Obviously, it's a very tiny representation of the game. The game is going to be massive. There will be thousands of different planets. There will be hundreds of different spaceships. There will be hundreds of asteroids and thousands of comets, and etc., etc. There will be a lot of different things. This is just a very simple graph for you to show the logical sequence and the connection between every single space object inside of our game. So as a player, you start your journey from the SIDUS station. That's an exciting place to be at, because the SIDUS station is going to grow exponentially every week, every month. There will be new buildings, there will be new constructions happening. When you log in a Thursday, it will be a very tiny space station, but then when you log in a month later, there will be a massive city, and it's going to be build non-stop until there will be no limits, to be honest with you. So people would be able to build their buildings and different things quite a long time, for years and years and years. I would say tens of years, actually. Now, we got inspired by the movie called Valerian, the City of Thousand Planets, made by Luc Besson, I believe. It was a very good science fiction. I loved the movie. And there was a really interesting concept in this movie. They've made this concept of the spaceship made by humans, and humans been traveling into space, and then they met aliens from a completely different race, from a different planet, and they've established a partnership together. And then they decided to use this spaceship as a basement or as a foundation for them to build this amazing city that will be a center of the galactic, intergalactical center, a core city that will combine different technologies in one place, including human technologies, alien technologies, etc. And then, a whole bunch of different aliens and humans started to come to this spaceship, and they started to build these, modules and little pods, etc. And then 100 years later, that spaceship became from a tiny little place to a huge city made of different alien modules and human modules, and there's millions of people living there. So it's an exciting movie to watch. I strongly suggest to you. But there was an inspiration coming from that movie to the actual SIDUS station. So the SIDUS station has a kind of similar concept where it's going to be a small, tiny place to start, but eventually it's going to grow into the massive, amazing city full of opportunities and amazing missions and a whole bunch of different buildings that you can So in order for you to build something inside of our game, you got to be someone who represents the political power inside of our game. And this is where it takes us to the political scheme. See, we are not here just to make another PvP/dungeons games because we're getting bored of it. And let's be honest, it gets boring when you do PvPs and dungeons nonstop and there are like only battles happening. What about the intellectual thing, right? What if you want to do something more than just PvP fights? What if you want to have something more of an intelligent fight, right? Well, that's where the political scheme comes into, right? So the political scheme is designed for players for any age. If it's a kid or a millennial or an adult person playing this game, it will make you feel excited. And because this political system inside of our place, you will do a lot of things to get this political seat inside of this parliament that you will see inside of our game to be able to build things that other people would not be able to build. So let me briefly take you through. So you as a player, you can have a whole bunch of mates playing with you, or you can have your guild playing with you, right? And you're the leader of the guild. Let's call my guild Dan's guild, right? I have thousands of players in my guild. What can I do inside of the SIDUS station? I can go to the special building, let's call it Ministry of Elections, and I can register my own political fraction. So I can register my own political party. So there will be a building, I lodge an application, I pay the fee. The fee will be quite expensive, but you can do it. I'm sure many of you would be able to earn a lot of money inside of this game. And you lodge an application, you choose an icon, you choose a description of your political party or a political fraction, and you write the agenda, the political agenda, the agenda that everyone would be able to see during the elections, right? So then you write the agenda. Let's say my guild, we're making a fraction called SIDUS Republicans. And my agenda will be like, I want to help everyone around the SIDUS station to achieve success and to be as efficient as possible to make sure that they're achieving and building some great things inside of this game. And there is another mate that is running another guild, and he makes another fraction. He calls it, let's say, SIDUS Democrats. And his agenda is, I don't care about development. I want to build as many buildings as possible in the SIDUS station, right? Now, what happens is every month, on the weekends, once a month, on the weekends, every player has a pop-up window and it says, please vote for your favorite political party. And you will have a selection of different political parties. Every party will have a certain agenda. So you can read, right? This agenda, this agenda, this agenda, this agenda. And if you think this particular political fraction represents your political objectives, you will use your DAO tokens, the CNET tokens, to vote for this political fraction. Now, let's say Dan's party, which is SIDUS Republicans, got 99% of all votes from the entire SIDUS nation. That means me as a leader of my guild, as a leader of my political fraction, I become the president for the whole month. For 30 days, I will be ruling the SIDUS station. And there will be also there will be a selection of 28 city council members, like parliament members, basically, that will represent the nation, the people, and I represent the nation, right? So if people don't like something, they complain to the parliament members, and then the parliament members can place the veto against my decisions. Now, as a president, why does it make me cool? Well, because I have some extra skills straight away once I get elected. I have special lighting around me. I get a salary from SIDUS station that is kind of cool, but it's also a big responsibility because everyone knows me, Dan, I'm the president. I'm ruling the entire SIDUS station for the whole month. And I got to be a very liable person because if I do something wrong, people will be like looking at me, pointing at me and saying, oh, that he's not a good leader. He does everything for his personal benefit. He doesn't do anything for the benefit of the entire nation, right? So we want to make sure the game is actually created for people, not for one person. So you as a president, you have some limitations coming from the parliament. If parliament doesn't like what you do, they're going to act very strictly. Now, you as a president, you get a special interface. That interface allows you to initiate some special things inside of the SIDUS station that not many people are able to do. What are these things? Well, you as a president, you can select the study from available technologies in the SIDUS laboratory, or you can select the construction from the available SIDUS station modules. So maybe you as a president decide to build an extension for the spaceship docks to extend 10 slots to 100 slots, so there are more spaceships connected to the SIDUS station. That is a very beneficial thing. I'm sure many people will like it. And if people like it, they will re-elect you in a month. And most likely your guild will be very credible because people know in the SIDUS station that this guild run by the Dan, they're very credible people. They are helping people as they promised in their agenda. Every of your decisions as a president will cost a lot of resources and money. All of these money and resources are coming from the SIDUS treasury. So there is like a pool, and when you do a lot of actions inside of the game, you pay GST, you pay lodging application fees, etc. All of these little resources and money go into this special SIDUS pool, a treasury, where the president uses the money from to build some massive things, like, as I said, to build an extension for spaceship docks or electric station to make it cheaper for you to process certain raw materials into the biosynthetic products. Or things like you can actually equip expeditions to explore the planets inside of our SIDUS game. Or you can initiate the construction of orbital station. And if you build an orbital station, first of all, it takes you a month to build it because it's a huge building in the space that allows everyone to enter the planet with no limitations. And once the planet becomes colonized, you can buy the land on this planet and then use this land in many different variations as you want it, right? So you've got to be very careful as a leader. The same applies to the city council members. If you're, making bad decisions, people are not going to vote for you for sure, and the opposition will take over the power in the next month or two. So you gotta look after your decisions. That's very important. Inside of our game, there will be a lot of different space objects, as I did mention before. There will be 3 different types of planets. Now there will be thousands of planets, but there will be 3 different types. Let me tell you, every planet will be like a new alluvium. When you land the planet, it will be an amazing world, local inhabitants, amazing landscapes, different things, right? So it's not being concentrated in a certain place. Now it's the metaverse, and the metaverse has to be huge, non-stop action, right? This is what we are trying to create. A game that will be playable for years, and people will get excited. Even if they're leveling up to level 50 or 100, they are still able to be challenged. And this is what we'll definitely provide to you in terms of that experience. Going back to the planets, 3 different planets: unexplored, explored, and colonized planets. Let's talk about unexplored planets. Now, if you're a lucky person and you build a scout starship, which will take quite a long time to build, and you have enough crew members on the board, you can travel in this space and you can search for unexplored planets. Unexplored planets are very unique. They're rich of materials and valuable resources. That is why we have a special anti-whale system. We don't want to give anyone an advantage inside of our game. This is why we have an anti-whale system that would not allow you to spend more than an hour per day per MetaMask wallet on this unexplored planet. Yes, you got it correct. You can only spend a certain period of time. It's an hour, as my understanding from the CTO, but don't take me for granted, maybe it will change. But it's going to be a certain period of time per day per MetaMask wallet to limit your opportunities to search for these valuable resources. Now, every unexplored planet is valuable because there'll be a local inhabitants that you can deal with, and you can get some cool market deals. You can find some valuable resources, precious stones, valuable items to improve your starship. You can find some awesome armor and weaponry. If you're going to spend the entire day on this planet, you will become a millionaire straight away, right? That's why we can't allow anyone to take an advantage of this planet. That's why we are having a limitation for every member to land on the planet once in 24 hours. Now, there is also a limited capacity for the Scout Starship. Don't think you can fit 1,000 people in this Scout Starship. It will be a very small number of people. So for a planet to be explored, you would imagine you have to spend a couple of 100 hours on this planet. And if you're limited only 1 hour per day, that's going to take you ages to explore the planet. However, if you do, first of all, you find some valuable resources. And secondly, you can name the planet and the planet will stay the same in the entire blockchain with your personal name. And that's the part of the history, right? Let's say if I call my planet Dan's Planet, that's it. You got to travel to the Dan's Planet. You got to accept my rules. So, you're going to be first to be so privileged to name the planet, right? And you got to work hard for it. Once the planet becomes explored, anyone from SIDUS station can travel to this explored planet. So you can go and buy the ticket to the robo shuttle, and the robo shuttle will take you to this planet. However, there is also a limitation per day per MetaMask wallet for you to land on this planet because of the oxygen levels. Now, once again, anti-whale, we can't give you too much time unless planet is colonized. And this is where the president has to do the due diligence to see if this planet makes sense to be colonized. Now, let me give you what makes sense is, right? If the planet is full of water and it's just full of seafood, there is no land, no bushes, no precious stones, nothing. Well, there is no value in this planet unless you want to catch some fish and process it into the buffs, military buffs and healings and chakra, etc. It's not really a valuable planet, right? But if you find a planet that has amazing land plots, a lot of trees, a lot of precious stones, a lot of copper and ore and many different things, that makes sense for you to colonize the planet. Now, in order for a planet to be colonized, you've got to build this orbital station. Orbital station is super expensive. And if you build it, you've got to make sure that this is the right decision for you to build. Because if you make a mistake, people will lose trust in you for sure. You will be re-elected no matter what you say, because there will be a waste of resources of the treasury of SIDUS station. And you knew it because you haven't done any due diligence as a president. So it's your responsibility to understand what this planet can bring as the benefit to the entire SIDUS station, right? Now, once the planet is colonized via the orbital station, anyone can go to this planet no matter how many times a day, and they can stay as much time as they want on this planet because the planet becomes colonized. And it will also have special auctions for you to participate at and buy some land. Once you buy the land, which you will get a random allocation to, let's say I bought land number 550 on the planet X, I will be able to enjoy some local resources. Now, land plots will be full of different resources. You can build buildings on the land plots. You can make your own little city, or you can use it for the farming. So you can actually find some resources. Let's say I get a land plot full of mountains, nothing else, just the mountains. What can I find in the mountains? Well, I can find some precious stones, or I can find some ore. Now, once I found some precious stones, what's next? Like, what should I do with these precious stones? Well, the thing is, you have to take it to the jewelry workshop, okay? And this is where the interesting part starts. Because this game is all about interactions, this game is all about working with other people, right? You got to find the jewelry workshop. Who is run by who? Let's check it out in the profession section. The jewelry workshop is run by the gem cutter. There we go. Gem cutter. Who is this guy? Well, this is the guy who is processing your raw precious stones into the faceted stones. And then faceted stones can be used by you to improve your armor, weapons, gadgets, etc. So it's very, very valuable labor specialist. And there'll be not too many of them unless there'll be every single person inside of this game who wants to become a gem cutter, right? So for you to be a gem cutter, you have to select one of your heroes and you have to select a certain profession for this hero. If you don't have any gem cutters in your collection as the heroes, you got to go to the special labor market. And in the labor market, you have to search for the gem cutter who is capable on the blockchain, on the smart contract to process your raw materials. You got to pay them money because this is what you basically do. You pay the money, they process your materials. That's the way it works in the real life. You do something, you pay for it. The same here. You got to process your materials from precious raw materials into faceted stones. You got to find the right person to do it for you. And there will be different levels of gem cutters. So it'll be level 0, level 1, level 10, level 20. And every gem cutter will produce you some special Sorry, I've got a bit of a telegram popping up here. I do apologize, too much work. So, you know, and then obviously different gem cutters will have different skills. Some gem cutters will produce some, you know, low quality faceted stones for you. Some gem cutters will produce and make like amazing faceted stones, level 5 or level 10, which you can substantially improve your weaponry or gear to perform really well at the battles and things like this. So you got to pay attention. The same applies to any other resources inside of our game. If you want to process your herbs, medical herbs, into the biosynthetic products, you got to find a biologist. If you want to manage your scout starship, you got to find the right pilot, or a scout officer, or a navigation officer. So you got to have the right professions inside of our game to manage certain activities. That's why this game is all about interacting with other people. It's not a selfish game. This game is all about teamwork. Unless you don't care about anyone, you can play it yourself, and you can fight against every other player, and you can become the legendary gladiator of all tournaments, and people will love you, and they will contract you to fight alongside with them. But you know, besides that, you don't necessarily need to fight against other people. You can just be the gem cutter. You can cut gems every day, and if you do it well, you can make a fortune out of it. I can guarantee that. So if you're good at something, you can make some substantial tokens. It doesn't need to be the PvPs or dungeons or space battles and stuff. It can also be a lot of other things. And this is an exciting part in this game. It's all about interactions. It's all about working with other people. In-game economics is a very important file for you to look at, because we have an economic labor scheme, how it actually works here. We've got a description of different resources, what you can use to process your raw materials into something valuable. We were talking here about rating system for your fights in the PvP arenas. We talk about a lot of stuff, land distribution, how it actually works, etc., etc., etc. So this game is full of different opportunities, and this is why I keep saying it. This game is all about amazing journey and different opportunities. So you as a person from any other country around the world can play this game and enjoy in a full-on capacity. We're making the game on the cloud, right? WebGL HTML5. Anything we do, it is immediately integrated inside of our game, right? So we don't need to go to the maintenance, because everything will happen quite efficiently. You know, if we have a new element to put inside of the game, we'll put it and you will see it straight away. It's an accessible game. We are making the game for anyone to play. You don't need to have PlayStation 5. You don't need to have the latest iPhone. You don't need to have the latest Xbox or a PC with GeForce 3090. No way. We're making the game to be played by anyone around the world. In the first world countries, in the second world countries, in the third world countries, doesn't really matter what countries are they and what devices they possess, you're still able to enjoy this game, because we are here to make this amazing experience, to make it as easy and as simply accessible as possible. And this is what SIDUS is all about. Make it exciting, make it simple, and make it enjoyable, okay? I can keep talking and talking and talking and talking. What I will talk a little bit about right now is the stages of the development. As you understand, the whole thing is not just going to pop up straight away in January and you will be able to fight against each other in the battles and the space battles, etc. This project is launched step by step. So the first cycle or the first stage of this project will be the tournaments. So it will be seasonal tournaments with the seasonal timer, and you will be able to enter these seasonal battles and seasonal tournaments for a particular amount of time and fight against other players. And if you win them, you get some winning points, which will accumulate and eventually will take you to the top of the rating system. And if you're at the top of the rating system, you would be able to end the season and get some loot boxes as well as some currency. The loot boxes, you will see some armor, weapons, gadgets, and you will also be able to improve characteristics of your characters. And the whole cycle repeats, right? There will be different battle arenas. It's not going to be boring, for sure. As I told you, environment, pay attention to the environment, pay attention to things around you. If you're seeing these mushrooms are growing nonstop, there is something happening. You got to pay attention. You got to shoot at these mushrooms so they become small again. They grow too quick, be aware, you'll get affected. And things like this, right? You got to be very cautious of things that you do inside of this game. The second stage will be quite more comprehensive. There will be extra things happening. There will be a smart contract for you to lease out your characters and in-game assets. And we are trying to get away from QR code because in the Axie, we see that a lot of people are getting scammed by the QR codes and people who are not a part of their ecosystem. So we try to make everything inside of the game. We try to make everything via the smart contract. So any leasing or renting you do happens via the smart contract. So that's going to be in the second stage of this game. There'll be a limited content, exclusive content for the winners who are winning the battles that we'll be able to enjoy in the second stage. And the second stage, we're probably looking at around second or third quarter of the next year. And then the third stage, which will have already planets, will have spaceships and many other things. It's going to be third/fourth quarter of the next year as well. So everything will happen step by step. As I said, don't expect the whole thing just appear, but we also don't want to delay things because many projects out there are saying, hey, we're going to build the game in 2 years. Now we're just going to do an IDO. That's not a good thing, right? So why would you wait people? Like, why would you keep people waiting when you actually can launch the game much in advance? This is what we've been doing in the last 12 months because we knew once we're going to show this project, everyone will like it because there is just so much potential. There is a unique storyline here. And I told you, a trailer is going to blow your mind. Sure, it's going to be a cinematic trailer that will be a prerequisite for the massive movie that eventually we'll probably make because the storyline we're making, it's unique, it's legendary, it's epic. It's like if you watch Avatar or a whole bunch of other science fiction movies there. We are making all of our characters from scratch. We're making the world from scratch. We're making all of these amazing interactions from scratch. Why don't we make a movie about it? Well, I'm sure there will be a movie producing company that would be interested to make a movie around this game for sure, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. The trailer will be exciting and it will show you a lot of things that we will see inside of our game for sure. Even the planets, it will in the space battles and a lot of different things. It's going to be an enjoyable game. It's not repetitive. Trust me, we are not here to make a boring game that is all about P2E. Forget about it. Yes, it will have a P2E element, but that's not a priority. The priority is to make a game exciting. So people are playing this game no matter what, and they're dedicating as much time as possible to play their game with friends, with kids, with family. It's going to be a very, very exciting project. And I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm proud and excited to manage the entire process of creating this game. We have 5 co-founders inside of this game, and every of these founders is working hard to make sure that we deliver what we've mentioned in the roadmap. It's going to be an exciting time, right? So we are looking forward to the game. IDO is important, listing is important, all of this stuff is important, but the most important part is the game, because for us as game developers, the project is more important than all of these, essential steps to go through. So IDO, as I said, is going to happen on the 15th of December. Be aware of scammers. There are a lot of scammers walking around. They're trying to take a little piece out of this project, and they're trying to scam you for money and stuff. Well, pay attention, guys. You're adults, you're not kids. So you got to look after your steps. And the only step that you have to go through is wait for the 15th of December and go to these launch pads that we've mentioned to you before. Once again, I will repeat them again. It's a CD5, Blockpad, Ignition, Red Kite, Gamify, TrustPad, and SpaceSwap. Okay, well, keep it in mind. Don't get scammed. Don't lose your valuable assets because you will need them to get some exciting stuff for sure inside of our game. And we're actually going to conduct some in-game asset sale in the future as well, closer to the end of December. We're going to sell some exciting elements for you to buy, some appearances for your characters, some paints for the spaceships. There'll be a lot of things for you to look at. There'll be, we call them initial NFT offering, right? So the NFTs that you would be able to buy before anyone else. There will be a special whitelist that we will provide to all of our subscribers. So you can register your interest and then participate in these sales. Or as a guild, if you have an interest, you can definitely participate in that process as well. I want to say a huge thanks to all of our community members. You guys are amazing. All of the partners that we're partnering with right now, and those names are massive, massive, and massive. I will announce them very soon. We have over 100 business partners we're partnering right now. we are trying to slowly announce them step by step, but there are just so many of them that we don't really have time to announce them in tens and tens of announcements every day. So we try to make it nice and slow. So we try to announce them 2 or 3 times a day, so you guys are understanding who are we dealing with and who are we working with. But those names will be quite exciting, and I'm sure you guys will see how much due diligence we've done. We've showed everything we possibly could show to get that credibility and to get that trust from those projects that are joining us as business partners. And I'm sure they're excited to be a part of this project as well. Keep in mind, everyone who is a business partner of this project will need to work hard. There will be no partner. If it's either a guild or a VC partner or an influencer or anyone, those people will need to work hard to help us to grow as the project, to educate people how to play the game and things like this. So you would not be alone, guys. We have a lot of people helping us, and I'm sure they will deliver the message as per our request. So I will keep an eye myself on that process to make sure no one is shortcutting things and no one is slacking. And every of these guys are working hard for sure, for you, and especially for you, because these games we're building right now, it's all for the actual community, not for ourselves. That's the most important part for you to understand. So I thank you for the time today. It was a great privilege to be a part of this AMA session. Hopefully you don't have too many questions after that, but if you do, we're going to conduct another AMA session for you guys to answer as many questions as possible. I'm looking forward to see you, and welcome to the SIDUS journey. See you soon. Bye.
SIDUS NFT Heroes.
SIDUS NFT Heroes.
It is called SIDUS NFT Heroes.
SIDUS NFT Heroes.
Cities Heroes.
SIDUS.
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 SIDUS here, and SIDUS is actually a really interesting project.